Okay, my hunch right now is that it is not the son-in-law. The son-in-law, just my gut, is not involved in the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. That's where I'm at 6:04 on a Thursday morning here on KCMO Talk Radio. This story continues to take bizarre twists and turns. And now last night, with Savannah Guthrie of the Today Show missing her mother since Saturday night. They have not seen her. She was reportedly kidnapped from her home in Tucson, Arizona, after she was dropped off by her own daughter and son-in-law. This would be Savannah's sister and brother-in-law. No one's seen her since. No one knows where she is. And last night, the Guthrie family, it was Savannah. If you haven't seen the video, it's all over social media. Savannah Guthrie is sitting there with her sister to her right and her brother to her left. And basically, they're sending a message, not to us, not to you and I and the rest of the world, but to whoever has her mother. Because there have been reports that there are ransom notes out there demanding Bitcoin in exchange for the return of Nancy Guthrie. They don't necessarily confirm exactly what's going on here, but let's be honest. You're not putting this video out in this kind of way unless you feel like there's a chance you can get your mother back and you feel like somebody is willing to negotiate. And that's what this was last night. It was the next step in the negotiation between the Guthrie family and whoever has their mother.
We, too, have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mom.
So that's Savannah Guthrie more or less confirming, hey, we are here to negotiate. Now, I know there were reports, Ashley Banfield, who used to be on News Nation, she got blown out for Katie Pavlich, who used to be on Fox News, of course. She just started her show a couple of weeks ago. I know there were some reports from Ashley Banfield and others that the son-in-law or the brother-in-law of Savannah was potentially a suspect in all this. There's just no way. You have Savannah Guthrie sitting next to her sister in this video, and you're telling me that the sister's husband is somehow involved in any of this, potentially demanding some kind of Bitcoin payment for his own mother-in-law? I mean, that stuff, in this day and age, that stuff is, even for Hollywood, too much for me to believe right now. I don't think you also would have the sister in there, because what they could have done is just had the video be Savannah. They did not have to have the siblings in it. Obviously, she's the star. If somebody is kidnapping this mother because of who her daughter is and because of the fact that they think they can make a pretty penny off of her, they are not going to go out there and do it in this way. They're not going to go out there and be like, you know what? We need the brother and the sister who nobody knows to also be in the video. That just doesn't make any sense to me, especially if you had any inkling, if you're law enforcement, that potentially the son-in-law of Nancy, the brother-in-law of Savannah, is somehow involved in any of this. That just doesn't make an ounce of sense. So that's where, when I saw the video last night, I said, okay, cross this brother-in-law, son-in-law off the list. I don't think that's part of what's going on here, because obviously this was coordinated by law enforcement. Savannah Guthrie did not wake up yesterday and say, you know what, I'm putting this on Instagram. No, this was coordinated and probably also largely scripted by law enforcement. You now have the President of the United States saying last night on social media, quote, I spoke with Savannah Guthrie and let her know I'm directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. President Trump writing, "We are deploying all resources to get her mother home safely. The prayers of our nation are with her and her family. God bless and protect Nancy." That is President Donald J. Trump posting on social media last night. That's how he signed it, by the way. That's how he signed it. So now you take a step back and you say to yourself, okay, Trump's got all his people on it. Obviously, local law enforcement's on it. I've seen a theory that is Savannah Guthrie famous enough for her mother to be potentially kidnapped by God knows who and held for ransom? And the answer is yes, especially if it's foreigners. In fact, it's more likely if it's foreigners. Now, I don't know if this is, people crossing the border. I don't know if this is Eastern European gangs. I have no idea. Russians, I don't know. I'm not speculating on that. I'm just saying when you think about American institutions in this country, I know that media is fragmented and the Today Show does not have the juice that it had 20, 30 years ago. I grew up in a house, waking up, rolling downstairs as a kid in the 90s and seeing Al Roker. And that's when Al Roker was like 2 Al Rokers compared to now. Okay? You had Katie Couric, you had Matt Lauer, you had Al Roker, you had the A-Team. There is no show like that anymore because media is so different than what it was 20, 30 years ago. But still, when you think about the Today Show, it's still an institution. While it's not what it was, it's still an institution. And especially if you're someone from another country and you're thinking about media institutions in America, the Today Show is still right up there. It is still the show in the mornings that people think about globally in America of all those network shows. It just is. So I do believe that she could be a target for something like this because of her stature and who she is. So now we just sit here and we wait to see what may come out of this next. And as for why it matters, I've seen also like, I don't care, celebrities' mom's missing. Well, anytime I think a member of the media becomes the center of a story like this that is wildly relatable, when you see somebody in media going through something as horrific as what Savannah Guthrie is going through right now, there is a relatability, there is a sympathy, there is an empathy that encapsulates the entire story. And that's why I believe that this is getting so much attention. It's not that Nancy Guthrie is the first person who's ever been kidnapped. But then if you add a ransom to it, and that's what you had last night, basically confirmation from the family that there's a negotiation at play here and some kind of ransom at play, that makes it into a Hollywood movie, I hate to say. And that's why this is going to continue to get so much attention and get more attention day after day until people figure out, law enforcement figures out what the heck is going on here with Savannah Guthrie and with her mother. Just when you think there might be a slowdown in the national news cycle to some degree, you get a wild story like this popping out of left field. So we'll continue to pray for Savannah Guthrie and her family, her siblings, what they are going through right now. And obviously now you have the President of the United States saying as well, he has got every tool at her disposal to try to find Nancy Guthrie, wherever she may be. But also, and you heard Savannah mention it there, the AI component of this is very eerie. Because if you're trying to negotiate with someone who has your mother hostage, what kind of graphics and images can you create with artificial intelligence to not be forthright? That brings in a whole new layer of this story that we really have never had to deal with on such a high-profile case. 913-408-7957 is how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM, streaming as always on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Coming up, why is the mayor of Kansas City speaking Spanish? What is going on? What is he trying to prove? We'll share that with you next right here on KCMO. Why did I open up social media last night and see the mayor of Kansas City speaking Spanish and saying my last name about half a dozen times? Well, because he wanted to welcome Argentina. And for those of you wondering, my last name just happens to mean world in Spanish. I am not of any kind of Spanish or Latino heritage. It's just an Italian last name that also happens to mean world in Spanish. So go figure. But I rolled through social media. I see the mayor. I don't know how long he had to practice this. I mean, I know he's been proud of his ability to lean into his bilingual background before, but he recorded a 1-minute-long video welcoming Argentina, the defending World Cup champions, who officially announced yesterday that they will set up their base camp here in Kansas City for the World Cup. What that means is that all their practicing will be happening here in Kansas City over the several weeks they're in North America for the World Cup. So they'll be here. They'll base out of Kansas City. It doesn't mean all their games are played here. Most are not played here. But this is a place for them to basically just set up shop and more or less live for a few weeks. So here was Mayor Lucas yesterday breaking out his bilingual chops. Here we go.
Kansas City tiene noticias increíbles. Argentina, la actual campeona del mundo, ha elegido Kansas City como su base oficial para el Mundial de la FIFA 2026. Eso significa que toda la selección argentina, liderada por algunos de los mejores jugadores del mundo, entrenará aquí mismo en nuestra ciudad mientras se preparan para el torneo. Este es un momento enorme para Kansas City. El mundo verá que hace especial a nuestra ciudad, nuestra hospitalidad, nuestra pasión por el deporte y nuestra increíble comunidad. A nuestra comunidad argentina aquí en Kansas City y a los aficionados del fútbol de todo el mundo. Kansas City está lista para dar la bienvenida al mundo. Vamos, Kansas City. Vamos, Argentina.
All right. Vamos. Yeah. Vamos. Vamos. Don't worry. We didn't switch formats here. We still are English-speaking talk radio. That was Mayor Lucas on social media welcoming Argentina, where they're going to base camp here in Kansas City for the World Cup.
Guess what's coming to the airport?
What's that?
That'll be the bilingual announcement, I'll bet. Right? No, he's good. He's got chops. He didn't just whip that up. He's not like me going, muy caliente, por favor.
Hey, you know what? Mayor Lucas has fewer jump cuts in his videos in Spanish than Sharice Davids does in her videos in English.
Nailed it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him that much. All I understood there was Kansas City, my last name, vamos, and football, which means soccer. That's really all I have. Oh, aquí means here.
Kansas City is a big sports town, and we're prepared and we're ready. That's the majority of it.
That was it?
I mean, there was a little more than that.
Oh, that's
that was the basic idea.
Okay. All right. Good job there, Mark. Well done. I have not taken Spanish since freshman year of high school, I believe was my last year. I took it from like 5th grade till maybe freshman year. But I am awfully rusty on it. I'll just say that much. But Mayor Lucas, he kept up, man. He kept up. He did all right there.
I didn't know the Spanish. I just had the subtitles. So.
Oh, is that what you did?
I was cheating over here.
You cheater. You cheater. Come on, Mark. Jeez. You're cheating on me. Okay. Well, I'm happy for, obviously, Argentina confirming the news that was reported, a week or two ago now. It's a big deal. They'll have a huge fan base here. Now, does that mean that it's going to be an amazing opportunity for every small business in Kansas City? No. Some will have record weeks. Some will not notice any difference. It just depends on where you are and also who you are and what it is that these fans who come from Argentina to follow their team actually want. It's that simple. I'll never forget the lady in Crown Center who sold sundresses. And she was complaining to anybody who would listen at the NFL draft, I'm not making any money. This NFL draft's a letdown. Ma'am, you sell sundresses in Crown Center. The guys who are coming to the NFL draft are not here to buy your sundresses. So let's just make sure we're on the same page. Not every business is going to see record weeks because of the World Cup being here. Some will. That's it. That's how life goes.
Sounds like she listened to a middleman who was pumping sunshine up keisters. You know?
Well, yeah, and there's
use a little logic.
Yes, the politicians are doing that.
Yeah.
They're painting this with a broad brush. It's going to be amazing for the region and amazing for Kansas City. It will be amazing for some businesses in Kansas City, not all.
Do the Argentinian restaurants, do the people want to go to their Argentinian restaurants, or do they want something new, Kansas City?
Well, exactly. Do they want Town Topic? Do they want barbecue? Or is the Argentinian restaurant going to do very well? They may say, I eat that stuff at home, you know? Like when we fly back east and I see family in the summer, I'm not looking for a burger, okay? I got great burgers here and great meat here. I'm looking to eat all the seafood I can.
It's kind of like when you go to Paris and you get barbecue. It's not quite the same. And God bless you for the effort. But, you know, that's part of it. Yeah, maybe you just come here and say, man, this barbecue thing looks good. We don't have a lot of that.
Exactly.
Well, they probably do, though. Argentina's a big beef nation.
They do, but they don't do it like we do, maybe.
No.
So I'm with you, though. It's just it's going to be some winners and some losers, or a lot of winners and some people noticing no difference. So just accept that. That's all.
I'm just waiting for the mayor's announcement in Algerian.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That one he may have had to practice on.
There might be a few more jump cuts in that video, right? Just leave it at that. Oh, man. So tonight in KCK, we have the vote that's going to be happening on whether or not to include future local sales tax revenues within a star bond district for Kansas City, Kansas, around the proposed stadium. Now, I think it's all but a done deal. It's going to happen. KCK just played its hand better than Olathe did. KCK decided we'll have one night on Tuesday night for, a listening session, and then we'll review the information, and we'll come back in 2 days and vote. Olathe was just like 2 nights ago, yeah, come on out, share your concerns, and then we'll jam this thing through 7-zip. So that's what happened in Olathe on Tuesday. KCK is voting on it tonight. Nat Fleener was on the show yesterday, Channel 9, KMBC. And Mark, if you don't mind grabbing those clips for me, I've got 2 Fleener clips in there. And one in particular stood out to me where you have city management admitting they don't have all the numbers. They don't really know what the numbers look like. They're just kind of spitballing some numbers. In a generational decision, think about this, a generational decision for Wyandotte County, just like Olathe the other night. They don't have all the information. They don't have all the numbers. But you know what? We're just going to roll with it because. As someone who knows Olathe city government said to me yesterday, they said, Pete, I have seen this city council give developers a hard time over the color of the siding on an apartment complex. I don't know if that's the right color for you guys. Now they're 7-0 approving this Chiefs deal in Olathe. They'll probably do it in KCK tonight, while full well knowing they don't even really know what these numbers look like, or in some cases, what exactly it is, at least in Olathe's case, what they're approving.
To the county administrator this afternoon, who said his staff has actually been working up a presentation for tomorrow night, trying to come up with the best estimates on how much this is going to cost taxpayers here in Wyandotte County over the next 30 years. He said it's his best estimates, no firm numbers just yet.
I'm doing my best. Your spouse says, I want that new car. I want that big SUV. All right, honey, what's it going to cost? I'm going to ballpark this one. I should be within a few $100s either way. It's not exactly responsible. But when it comes to government funny math, you just kind of do it, and then you learn what's in it later and how much it costs after the fact. It's Nancy Pelosi math. And Wyandotte County's doing it, and Olathe's doing it too. And we're all supposed to just go along to get along and roll with it. Just because, hey, the Chiefs, man, right? The Chiefs. Football, woo! All right. Coming up, you know who I was actually cheering on yesterday? Oh, man, the show that Scott Besssent put on against Emmanuel Cleaver. Next. Scott Besssent put on a master class yesterday in a House hearing. This was the House Financial Services Committee. And Scott Besssent, the Treasury Secretary, who's forgotten more about finance than people like Emmanuel Cleaver and Maxine Waters will ever know, just put on a show yesterday. I mean, they bring him in there. It's one big dog and pony show. That's what it is. And, I mean, you got people, Maxine Waters, sitting up there at 87 years old. Emmanuel Cleaver, whose knowledge of finance, as far as I can tell, includes basically going bankrupt on a car wash, are somehow on the House Financial Committee. You want to know what's wrong with Washington, D.C., those are the people that you're picking to be on what I would perceive to be one of the most important committees in the entire country, House Financial Services. And I don't think Maxine Waters could balance a checkbook. Emmanuel Cleaver has zero credibility on a House Financial Services Committee. What has Emmanuel Cleaver done? I mean,
you mustard.
What has he done? So this thing yesterday is all like gotcha nonsense with Scott Besssent. All right. And there was this moment with Maxine Waters out of California, and Scott Besssent, he was just having absolutely none of it.
My time was a mass unfettered immigration. Mr. Chair, will you let him know that when I asked
time does belong to
the housing
woman from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman
took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Mr. Chair,
parliamentary
inquiry.
The chair recognizes the vice chairman of the committee, Mr. Heisinger.
Parliamentary inquiry. Go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
Maxine Waters sounded like a lady in the nursing home yelling at her soap opera on TV. Would you shut up already? Up and down! Like, wait, ma'am, it's almost nap time, okay? Just sit down, calm down. Nap time's coming up. Relax, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. So it was testy yesterday. They were all trying to do gotcha questions to Besssent about whether or not Trump is too influential over the Fed, whether his policies are inflationary. I just wish that Maxine Waters and some of the people grilling Besssent had these same questions of Joe Biden and his administration. Now that we sit here 5 years after the Inflation Reduction Act, and we are 5 years removed from what has been the largest inflationary half-decade we've had in this country in going on 50 years. I wish they had that passion, that fire in the belly. They don't. Emmanuel Cleaver then gets up there, talking to Besssent yesterday. He's got his time. And the video was really, an embarrassment for Kansas City. Scott Besssent, who once again was one of the most successful financial guys in the country before he became the Treasury Secretary, has got to be sitting there and saying, Kansas City, how did you elect this guy? This is your representative. Scott Besssent, he doesn't know us out here, but I'm telling you what, he thinks a lot less of us today than he did yesterday.
Yep. I'd sit here and think, these people in Minnesota, who are they voting for? Gee, many Christmas. It's like, ooh, there's a mirror. Whoops.
Yeah.
So again, I'll say, not at my house.
Yeah.
He's not my rep.
He's not. But man, he is Kansas City's rep, whether we like it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And here he was yesterday trying to somewhat browbeat Scott Besssent while just rambling on and meandering around. And like Maxine Waters, sounding really old and befuddled. Here is Emmanuel Cleaver trying to grill Scott Besssent yesterday in this hearing.
Gentleman's time has expired, and I recognize the ranking member of our Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, Mr. Cleaver of Missouri. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, this is an embarrassing kind of a hearing. I've been on this committee 21 years. We've had all kinds of conflict. In fact, I was in here when the Federal Reserve Chair, along with the Treasury Secretary, and many others came in to tell us what was going to happen if the Asian markets, when the Asian markets opened after the collapse of the economics of our nation.
What?
And
What? The Asian markets and the economic collapse of our nation. What is he talking about? What is his reference point? Holy smokes. You talk about a guy that's ready for nap time. That's Cleaver right there. What are we doing, John?
Every other word was there
yes.
for the first 6.
Yes.
And then it was like, enough about this. Let's talk about me.
Yeah.
I was here when,
Yeah, and he can't even get the story straight. It's like listening to your grandpa try to tell you a story, and you're like, Pops, we're 3 minutes in here, and you haven't even gotten to the story. Let's go. What's your point? I mean, that's Cleaver. And by the way, he's got 5 minutes. These people, in these committee hearings, you get your 5 minutes, right? You get to put on your little show for 5 minutes. He's wasting time going down memory lane on a memory that he can't even fully comprehend or explain to the people in the building. Holy smokes. I mean, I have not heard Cleaver long form in a while. I've just heard, obviously, all the wacky clips, the musty moo-moos. But this is bad, man.
That you can't make honey and sting at the same time. The question is whether we came here today to sting or whether we came here to talk about issues that are of importance to the nation. I got a little grandson, I hope. Well, he was in school today. I would hate for him to have seen this so far.
Is he talking about himself, or what's he referring to there?
What I would like to talk about is your opinion of the dual mandate, stable prices, maximum employment. I would like to get your philosophy on that issue.
Oh no!
Is that the creators of the Federal Reserve, and then the mandate, was that a mistake?
If you don't think that we need an age maximum in Congress, after hearing that from Emmanuel Cleaver and hearing the prior clip from 87-year-old Maxine Waters, I can't help you. I know some of you will say age is just a number, all right? But I don't believe that we can sit here and believe in age minimums for office and not believe in age maximums. I'm so done with these geriatrics in D.C. milking the taxpayer, sucking off the taxpayer teat, and literally not knowing what they're trying to say and where they are half the time. I'm done with it. And yeah, that might occasionally impact a good Republican and someone who comes off younger than they are like Trump. It might impact them once in a while. I don't care. I'm done with these old people sitting in D.C. for 20, 30 years, milking us, and literally being so out of touch they can't put together sentences anymore. I'm done with it. Get them out, move on, get some younger blood in there. I don't care who it is. It's not about left or right. It's just about getting these people out of Washington, D.C. for crying out loud, John.
We need to change the street signs. It'll be Cleaver Boulevard.
Oh, that's so good, man.
Right.
That is so good. So that was 2 minutes of Cleaver yesterday before he even gets to a question of Scott Besssent.
I was going to say, he's eating up his 5 minutes there, right?
I know.
This should be a piece of cake for Besssent.
It's like when I know I've got a guest for 5 minutes, I always just interviewing 101, keep your questions tight, get right to your point, make it quickly, let the guest explain themselves. We're 2 minutes in, and Cleaver's talked about the Asian markets, some global bombing, his grandson being upset, and I don't even know what else. Although his grandson's in school today, he made sure to notify that. Yeah, he was in school. Good to know. Thank you very much. I'll just play a little bit of Scott Besssent responding to Cleaver because I think that Besssent was as confused as anybody by all this.
The Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which created the Fed, and then we have morphed into the dual mandate, and the dual mandate is a very delicate balance between maximizing economic growth while maintaining the low levels of inflation.
Well, so then you believe in, I'm assuming, the independence of the Federal Reserve?
I believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve, but I also believe in accountability.
Can you explain how you put those two together?
Sure. I would welcome. We've seen these cost overruns at the Fed. The Fed has the independence of the Fed is based on its trust with the American people. And the Federal Reserve lost the trust of American people when it allowed the greatest inflation of 49 years to ravage working people in this country.
Mr. Secretary, so the people in the country, there was a poll or something? I mean, you're speaking of the American people as if there's some human being that had an opinion.
What?
I mean, either the Fed is...
I can't. I got to end this.
A man and a woman.
I can't do it anymore. I can't listen to Cleaver. I mean, I'm losing brain cells. I can feel it happening in my head right now. I just can't do it. I can't do it to myself. I can't do it to you. Age maximums in D.C. Some of you are texting in saying term limits. No, term limits are not the answer necessarily, because you could still then run for office at 75 and hang on for, another 10, 12 years. No, it's not about term limits. It's about having age maximums. If you don't think you can be president until you're 35, which I'm fine with, then you know what? We also have to have something on the top end. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of listening to these guys sound like they're your drunk uncle at a wedding, not being able to finish a story while you sit there and pretend to be engaged. I'm done with it. And Emmanuel Cleaver was on full display as that drunk uncle at the wedding yesterday. That's it. That's what he was. I have no problem with this. I have no issue whatsoever with the president saying, we've got to recalibrate our approach when it comes to how we're handling the illegal immigration issue right now in this country. And it's not about softening. It's not about not going after people who have broken the law. It's about being smart in how you go about rolling out your plans to remove people from the country who have to be removed as soon as possible. So the president did an interview yesterday with NBC News, and some people are not going to like it. And you can call up, you can text in right now at 913-408-7957 and be like, you know what? Nope, he's not doing this right. No, he is. He is. The polling has shown for the last year, people like how the president has been handling the border. But where he's losing the narrative with the media is how some of this is being handled in Minneapolis. He knows it's hurting him, but he also knows that he has to do it. And this was a lot of the criticism last week that came from myself and some other people, which was, hey, we've got to be smarter about how we're doing this. We can't have ICE trying to do its job where they're trying to remove violent, criminal, illegal aliens. But then Border Patrol's also up there kind of doing its thing, acting like Wyatt Earp and hanging out outside at Home Depots and doing its thing. And then, of course, you've got all the protesters going nuts. And, yeah, they're paid for. And, yes, they're paid agitators. But knowing full well how these people are going to combat you, knowing full well how the media is going to frame you, that's where you've got to be able to think two steps ahead. So the president said this last night to NBC News.
I have a question about immigration still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals, but I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers that Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured a lot of them. We've brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not sent back again. Yeah. Despite how strong the borders are, they'll figure a way to try and get in, and we don't want to, and we'll incarcerate them. But 11,888 murders. Yeah. We are after those people. We're after the drug dealers. Right. We are after, by the way, a big problem. They allowed to come into our country people from their mental institutions, people from insane asylums that are mentally ill and very dangerous. We're getting them out.
That's exactly the approach from the president of the United States that you would want to have. And that may be the first time in Donald Trump's life that he actually didn't exaggerate a number. He was actually under the number. According to ICE, in September of 24, data shows there are over 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide who are on ICE's national docket but not currently in detention. I think Trump said 11,000 and change. The actual number is 13,000. So, typical Trump, he usually doubles or triples the number just for a good time. But in this case, he actually came in under the number. Go figure. I mean, that's a shocker.
Talk about a bombshell.
But on a more serious note, he puts this out there and it's like, yes, that's it right there. I mean, that is a slam dunk, no doubt about it, completely non-controversial way to sell your immigration policy. And to be clear, Tom Homan made this point yesterday. He had a press conference in the morning, and we didn't carry it because there was so much stuff happening here in Kansas City. But Tom Homan made it clear, it doesn't mean that we're not going to focus on people who also came here illegally because they broke our nation's laws too. But right now we are hyper-focused on those who have come here and are either known violent criminals or have committed crimes while being here. And that's what I want. Like, honestly, I don't want them going after a single person who has been here and hasn't broken the law beyond, obviously, the law breaking of coming across the country and coming across the border illegally. I don't want that person, and not that that person's not important, but I want all the focus on anybody who is a known violent criminal either in their home country or here. I want them off the streets as soon as humanly possible. And then you work your way down the list. That's what you do. But it's a zero-sum game. Anytime that you're spending on somebody who has not committed crimes in addition to breaking the law of coming into the country, is time that you can spend on somebody who has committed crimes while being here in America or has committed crimes back in their own home country and is now here dealing drugs and involved in other criminal activity while being in the United States. So this was the president last night, NBC News. Now, what does it mean for Kansas City? Because the president specifically talked about mayors and governors and how he wants to get a phone call from them before he uses federal agencies in these major American cities. Here's what he said.
So I want to be clear because it sounds like there is a shift in immigration enforcement here, that there's going to be a shift after Minneapolis. What should Americans expect going forward?
Well, one thing I say to my people, we do a good job. We don't get credit for it. I say they have to ask and they have to say, please. When a city is
who has to ask and who has to say please?
The mayor or the governor, I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if their numbers are terrible. Like, for instance, I got a call from Jeff Landry, governor of Louisiana. He said, we have a big problem. Could you go in and help us with let's see, certain sections. I mean, to be honest with you, certain sections of the state, beyond their famous, beautiful city, certain sections of the state. We have done, not only in New Orleans, we've done a really great job in Louisiana, but I was called. I want to be called. Chicago, we could solve the Chicago crime.
Well, on that question, which cities are you headed to next?
We have 5 cities that we're looking at very strongly, but we want to be invited. Strongly. We will sometimes call the governors. And
are these cities like Chicago, Philadelphia? Are these the cities?
That sounded like me back in sophomore year of college. There was a girl that I wanted to invite to my formal, and I said, she's not coming to my formal unless I get the invite to her formal. And she never invited me to her formal. So I'm like, you know what? You didn't invite me. I'm not inviting you. I want to be invited. Now, the best part of that story is that I ended up on a blind date with my now wife. So it worked out great for me. And I think this is going to work out great for Trump as well. I really do. That was the best thing to happen to me, to not get the official invite. I couldn't be happier 20 years after the fact. But Trump's saying, I want the invitation. Now, if you think that means, well, Quentin Lucas is never going to invite Trump or ICE to Kansas City, so we're kind of screwed. No, he said the mayor or the governor. It was an either or. If Mike Kehoe calls him up and says, hey, I need your help in Kansas City, he's coming. By the way, Trump owes Kehoe. Kehoe got him an extra congressional seat here. when they redistricted last year, which is going to squeeze out the musty man himself, Emmanuel Cleaver. I mean, that's
you mustard moo.
That's good for Trump. Trump owes Missouri. So if Kehoe wants him in Kansas City, he's going to get him here in Kansas City, whether Quinton Lucas wants it or not. And frankly, I think there's a lot of not just frustration, but exhaustion out of Jeff City with Mayor Lucas, who was on CNN last weekend trashing this ICE detention center potentially coming to Kansas City. Mad at Rachel Maddow, had him on the other night. And the fact that, he's doing everything he can to basically rail on this private company with these Kansas City guys who may end up selling their facility in South KC to the federal government. There's exhaustion over this in Jeff City. They're not going to worry about what Quinton Lucas says. Now, the good news is we don't really seem to have a major problem right now. So we have never been high on that list, and hopefully it stays that way. But I didn't hear that clip and say, we're toast in Kansas City. I heard that clip and said if Kehoe wants it done, it's going to happen. That's what I heard. 913-408-7957. Let's go to you. Paul is in Kansas City on KCMO. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Pete, how you doing? Yeah, I agree with the president's strategy, and I think what he's doing is he's doing a military tactic. Is when you're on the offensive and you come into a stubborn enclave, you just bypass that enclave and let them starve to death like Stalingrad. You just go around it and keep moving on. And I think that's what he's doing with Mandami and Krasner in Philadelphia. He's just saying, okay, guys, we're going to bypass you. You're just going to have to let those guys run the street, and we're going to go to places like Polk County, Florida, with Sheriff Grady Judd, and we're going to clean their place up. And that's what we're going to give our assistance to. But I want to hear him talk more, Pete, about the state-sponsored fraud. He's got to stay on that. That should come out of his every time he talks to the press. State-sponsored fraud. He can't let that go. You talking about Minneapolis? Yes, sir. In California too. Those hospices they're running with the Armenians. That is atrocious. Yeah, I saw I haven't dug a lot into that story, Paul, but I did see there's I think 20% of the Medicaid fraud is coming out of Los Angeles County or something like that is the allegation. Yeah, there was a 4-block area, Doctor. I drove by, and in that 4-block area was 286 Armenian hospice facilities. And they were strip malls, boarded up buildings. It's just fraud. Wow. And they're using these people like commodities. They're moving them from one hospice to the other and rebilling Medicare or Medicaid. And Newsom's blind to it, or he's complicit, one of the two. Yeah, one of the two. I wouldn't mind, though, if they kind of keep their powder dry and stay quiet on this while working on it behind the scenes, so that way they're not tipping their hand. That could, yes. And Homan said that. Homan said we still got 2,000 guys, and they're not carrying guns; they're carrying calculators. Yeah, so I was happy about that. That's good. All right, Paul. Have a great day. Good call, man. I appreciate it. 12 o'clock today, there will be an update from Tucson, Arizona. The sheriff is going to give us some new information on the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, who has been missing since last Saturday night. That was the last time she was seen at her home in Tucson, Arizona. She didn't show up to church on Sunday. Family got concerned, called it in, and here we are 5 days later, and there is no sign of her. Last night, you had Savannah Guthrie and her 2 siblings put out a video, and let's call this what this is. This is a video in conjunction with law enforcement from the Guthrie children, basically asking whoever has kidnapped Nancy Guthrie to come to the table and negotiate. There were reports on TMZ and some other places that there is a big Bitcoin ransom that is being asked for the return of Nancy Guthrie. And you heard Savannah Guthrie say in this video last night with her 2 siblings by her side, which is part of the reason I don't think the brother-in-law of Savannah Guthrie is a legitimate suspect. I don't think there's any way you do a video with Savannah and her 2 siblings flanking her if the husband of her sister is a prime suspect in this case. That just wouldn't add up to me, because you could just have Savannah Guthrie be the one recording the video, because let's be honest, if it is a ransom request here, then Savannah Guthrie is the one who's going to pay it. I mean, she's the one who's made, at this point, probably tens of millions of dollars from being on the Today Show. It's not like the siblings are chipping in here. Hey, I got a 5. That's not what's going on. Savannah's footing the bill here if there's actually a ransom request on the table. So
they could have just done this with Savannah if they didn't want to put the siblings on screen because the brother-in-law is a suspect. But here's what it sounded like last night. It was put up on Savannah Guthrie's Instagram account.
We, too, have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
All right, that was Savannah Guthrie in this video, flanked by her siblings yesterday on social media. So the sheriff's going to give an update today at 12 o'clock. We'll obviously see if there's any good news there. The president did say, as we noted just before the top of the hour, that he will help out with this investigation. He will use federal agents, obviously, to assist however that they can in this process. And now we just wait and see as to what might be next. But obviously, this is something that the entire nation is watching because it's something out of a Hollywood script. I mean, you think about all the cameras that exist all over the place now. And we're almost a week into this, and no one really seems to have any idea where she might be. And now the Today Show anchor is putting out videos basically saying, I will negotiate with the potential kidnappers of my mother. You can't make this stuff up, man. And I do think there's some thought that Savannah Guthrie may not be famous enough to have someone try to kidnap her mother for money. I disagree. I completely disagree. I know that the Today Show is not what it was in its heyday, but no media is because media is so fragmented now. Yeah, it's not what it was with Matt Lauer and Katie Couric and Al Roker when he was 3 times the size. Like, it's different today. The whole country doesn't flip on the Today Show anymore because you can put on whatever you want. So, but I still think, especially if it's someone from another country, whether it's, European, Asian, South American, doesn't matter. If you've got criminals from other countries, the Today Show is still an American institution. And if you know you have access to the mother in some kind of weird, creepy way, then you know what? It's not the craziest thing, especially when the ask is in Bitcoin, which obviously is much harder to track. So we'll see what happens today. 12 o'clock is that press conference from the Arizona sheriff. The president of the United States speaking at the prayer breakfast this morning, 74th National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. And, one thing I'll say about President Trump is that I don't know if he's truly a man of faith. I think he's come around on the issue in a big way since he got into politics. I think he has seen things and lived through things like his near assassination twice that has opened up his mind and his heart, more importantly, to the idea of leaning into whatever faith he has a little bit more. And I think that's great for him. I think that's fantastic for all of us, frankly. And there's no doubt that when given the option of Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump or Joe Biden, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, he was clearly the far superior option for those who are pro-life, for those who are Christians, but really any faith, even, of course, Jews, and you can go on down the list from there. He was clearly the better option for people of faith in this country, not just due to the policies, but due to his beliefs in true religious freedom in America. It wasn't about how he lived his life, because a lot of people on the other side would point out and say, hey, Trump's he's a total hypocrite. Yeah, okay, he is. By the way, we're all sinners. But yeah, sure, he is. That's fine. But when it came to who was going to defend the policies that people of faith believe in, Trump was clearly the better of the two options. And in politics, you only have two options, two parties, two options. You want to perceive it as the lesser of two evils? However you want to frame it up is fine. It doesn't really matter. But that's the reality. But the president said something this morning, just moments ago at the prayer breakfast, that was played by Fox News at the top of the hour. And I don't want to be sanctimonious about it. I'm really not trying to be. It's not my intention here. So if it comes off that way, I'm apologizing. However, as I go through my faith journey, one thing that I have realized here is that the president is viewing his faith journey and his potential ascension to heaven in a totally backwards way.
Last time I was having a lot of fun. We had a big crowd. We had 60,000 people, and I'm talking about the fact that I will never make it to heaven. I will never, ever. And I was being funny. I was trying to be, you can't be sarcastic with them because they write your words, and they don't. The people are reading the words are much different than but I say, I'm never going to make it to heaven. I just don't think I qualify. I don't think there's a thing I can do, but all of these good things I'm doing, including for religion. Religion's back now hotter than ever before. I mean, I have to tell you.
Religion is hot
but
because
I said,
of
even though I did that and so many other things, I named things, I said, I won't qualify. I'm not going to make it to heaven. And the New York Times did a front page story that Donald Trump is questioning his life and the meaning of his life. No, I was just having fun. I really think I probably should make it. I mean, I'm not a perfect candidate, but I did a hell of a lot of good for perfect people. That's for sure.
I did a lot of good for perfect people. All right, there are no perfect people. We're all sinners. And getting into heaven is simply about really accepting salvation as a free gift from God, not something that you can earn through good works. There's not like a checklist, right, to get in. And Trump is still in this mindset of like, he's going to earn his way in. And I get like, that's kind of who Trump is. That's in some ways part of his charm. But if I could chat with him for 5 minutes, I would say, sir, you're not going to earn your way in. I mean, yes, you've done a lot of great things that I agree with, but none of that's going to get you in. If you don't acknowledge sin, believe in Jesus as the Son of God, who died for your sins, gets resurrected, repent, confess him as Lord, accept his sacrifice as this free gift, and then live a transformed life in faith, you're getting in, sir. Sir, you're getting in. You'll be okay. Follow his teachings. You got a good chance. But putting together a checklist, that's not what it takes. I mean, at least that's my understanding. You can totally disagree, and I am in no way trying to be sanctimonious. Just have a little fun here too. But this is as much me talking to myself as a reminder to myself with this microphone as it is me talking to the president and talking about this as a topic. It was a reminder to me that, yes, obviously, treating others as we want to be treated, all those things matter. But at its very core, that is not what this is about. Mark, you're the son of a pastor. Set me straight on this, okay? Tell me what's really going on here.
No, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I need to throw away the checklist and all the good works and all that. That's not going to do it.
Okay.
Just got to accept it.
All right. That's what your dad would say if we dialed him up right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad I could summarize what your father would say as a pastor. We're all good, man. 9:20. Okay, this Travis Kelce's not coming back, at least not yet. Not yet. It just hasn't been announced. I still think it's going to happen. That's my bet. I don't see the odds on FanDuel just yet, but that's my bet. But yesterday, and I saw the post on social media, and I'm like, wait, what did I miss? What's going on here? What did I miss? And what happened is that Patrick Mahomes put up a social media post, and it was very cryptic in nature. It was Patrick Mahomes just putting up a post saying, "Let's go!" Exclamation point, multiple exclamation points. And then he tags Travis Kelce, and then he puts up the dart emoji 3-4 times. And it got 3 million hits, 3 million views on X. And I saw it, and I'm like, what's he talking about? And then I kept going on with my day, and I kind of just kept going, and I didn't really look into it any further. And then I check out my phone later, and I see Mark and Kevin going wild about Travis Kelce sticking it on the 16th hole at the Waste Management Open there, where they were doing a practice round yesterday.
He got all of that one.
Yes, he did. Caddyshack reference. Take a bow, John. Go home for the day. You're done. All right, well done. So Travis Kelce's out there in Phoenix where the Waste Management Open's taking place. It's that circus of a golf tournament that really is more like, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know, like a European soccer match kind of with how chaotic it is. It's just, it looks on TV like a drunken what
frat
show.
House rules.
Yeah, it just looks out of control. Most golf tournaments will have anywhere from 20 to 40, 50,000's a lot of people at a golf tournament. This thing has well over 100,000. It's a zoo. So Kelce's there playing yesterday, once again, like celebrities, practice round, yada, yada. And, on the 16th hole, par 3, he just sticks it to within 5 feet. It's a beautiful shot. And his swing is very much that of like a 20 handicap. It's just, it's not a great golf swing. And I'm not saying that. I'm not a good golfer. I'm like a 20 handicap with Travis. But he doesn't look like the guy who's consistently sticking it to within 5 feet on a long par 3. But he did. Credit to him. And that's what Mahomes was talking about. It had nothing to do with Kelce coming back to the Chiefs next year. So Mahomes realizes that this thing is spiraling on him. He reshares his own post, and he writes here, I'm talking about, and then he puts up golf emojis and laughing emojis. Because everybody was like, Travis is coming back. And it's like, nah, dude, no, we're not there yet.
I failed yesterday. I did hear when I was driving in yesterday, listen to the Kelce Brothers podcast, New Heights. Travis said he was going to be playing at the Waste Management. I was a little confused. I was like, I thought that was for professional golfers, but I guess it was just on their practice day. So.
Yeah, they sometimes do that with these tournaments. They'll have a celebrity round or something like that. I don't know the details on this one in particular, but yeah, he was just there hacking it around a little bit. But there was a massive crowd on that 16th hole where they had that par 3 where you see guys like throwing their beers up in the air and going nuts if you hit it close to the hole. And that was Travis Kelce yesterday.
There's a bet you can bet. Will there be a hole-in-one on hole 16?
Really?
You can get that on FanDuel.
All right. I may have to dabble in that this weekend. To me, this is like the unofficial start of the golf season this weekend. That's what it is to me.
I've got Scotty Scheffler winning it all, though.
Oh, do you?
That's my one bet I placed.
All right. You got Scotty back in his groove. There you go. I like that, Mark. Now, the Super Bowl's this weekend. Whatever. I'm riding the Seahawks on this thing. But yesterday, Scott Besssent, the Treasury Secretary, who was getting grilled by Maxine Waters and Emmanuel Cleaver and some of these other grifters and hucksters, Scott Besssent said that this weekend at the Super Bowl, there's going to be a commercial for the Trump accounts. Take a listen.
The uptake is going quite well. We had a big event this week to roll out the accounts. More than 1 million households representing more than 1 million children have signed up. I would tell everyone to look for the commercial right after the national anthem at the Super Bowl this weekend. I think we are prepared for a flood of signups, and then they will go live on July 5th, and the goal is the lowest possible.
Okay, so that was Scott Besssent yesterday in this House hearing saying we're going to have a commercial at the Super Bowl, and there's going to be a commercial about the Trump accounts at the Super Bowl. And that is brilliant marketing. So how many people don't even know about this? That the government will put $1,000 into an account for your kid if the child was born after December 31st of 2024, so basically 2025, and then that can grow, and you can contribute up to $5,000 a year to it. And that child, if you average rate of return and you max it out at $5,000 a year, I know that's not easy for everybody to do, but if you want to do it, you're looking at anywhere from $150 to $200,000 when all is said and done at the age of 18. And you can keep growing it. You can use it to start a business. You can use it for, vehicle, down payment on a car. It can encourage all these things that right now young people find themselves behind the 8 ball on. And what it really is to me, I've heard Republicans say that this is like socialism. I guess last weekend there was the Kansas Republican Convention down in Wichita. And Dana Lash was down there, and you may know her from a radio show and TV show. She was their big keynote speaker. And she trashed these Trump accounts. She called it socialism. I completely disagree. First off, what this is a relatively cheap way to teach people the value in compound interest. Even if you don't put $1 into it, right? And you just can't afford to. Your parents, whatever it is, you don't put $1 into it. If you get $1,000 the day you're born, and your money doubles on average every 7-8 years, you're looking at $4 or $5 grand, give or take, when you turn 18. And for the kid who's not paying attention, and they're like, wait, you gave me $1,000, I didn't put another $1 into it, now it's worth $4 or $5 grand. Something in their head says, whoa, what's going on here? How does this work? It might trigger something in young people to say, wow, this whole compound interest thing, which they should be teaching in the classrooms, and they're not. Half the reason is because they're doing ice walkouts in Olathe today, for crying out loud. It's like there's just value in teaching that and giving people a chance to actually create generational wealth without relying on, I hope I live till I'm 80 so I can collect some Social Security one day. Like, that's no way to live. That's socialism. If we get away from that kind of a program and we get more towards a program like this, man, the sky's the limit.
Difference in socialism is you don't get the money.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's the other thing, too. That is very, very true there, John. It is. So I'm a fan of it, and there will be a Super Bowl commercial this weekend. 11 million people had kids last year. Only 1 million have signed up. So a lot of people are going to be reached.